Good morning, grade 5. This is Mr. B, and today we're going to be learning about long division. First, we're just going to do a bit of a review just about remainders and some mental division. So just to remember that if you have something like 7 divided by 3, right? What you can do is you can skip count 3, 6, and then you can't go to 9 because that's too much. You can't take that many away, and you go to 6, and so 7 minus 6, and you have 1 left over, and that kind of counts as your remainder 1. So you would say that it is 2 times, right? So you 1 time, 2 times for the 6, and you get 2, and you get 1 left over. So that's kind of the basics of remainders. We've already covered that with number lines and putting things inside of circles, so I don't think I have to go over that again. Then we had estimation. So if you have something like 82 divided by 37, one thing we can do is we can estimate these. So we can just do what we've always done when we estimate, is we round. So if we're rounding to the nearest tenth, we look over at the ones column, we see if it's below 4 or below, or 5 and up. And so if it's 4 and below, you round down. So this would round to 80. And then we divide it by this one, and we check here at the tens column, we look over, and so this one here is 5 and up, so we go up to 40. Now, another thing we remembered in division is that zeros will cancel each other out. So in this case, we have 1 0 over here and 1 0 over here, so they cancel each other out. And so really this is just like 8 divided by 4. So that is 2, right? Now, same deal here. If you had 300 divided by 100, or 10, right? Just for the example here, what you do is you have 1 0 over here and 2 over here. So you cancel 1 out here and just 1 out. So the zeros cancel each other out, but there's still an extra 0 over here. So you end up getting 1 going into 30, which is equal to 30, right? So we did a bunch of that work the other day. If you need to, go back through the book and look at that again. Okay, so just, yeah, that should be good for you there. So now we're dealing with long division. So I'm going to go through the book with you. So if you want, you can look at the sheets that I've sent you. And we're going to just look at question 1 here. So question 1A to start with, and then we'll just move through this as we go. So what you have is this question that says 74 divided by 3. Now this funny, like, weird thing, and that's how you're supposed to draw it, but I always draw it like this. This thing is basically the same thing as divide, except you put the number that is being divided up here, and you put the amount of, like, groups, I guess you could think of it, here, right? So so if you were to write this normally, you would say 74 divided by 3, but this way, when we put it in this kind of way, like here, what we get is sort of the ability to do it on a paper much easier, and it kind of works out nicely. So what we want to start with is just see how many groups are we going to be chopping this up into. And the answer is here. It says 3 groups, right? So we have the groups are right here. So these are groups, and we are going to say that we have 3 of them. Now, the next thing we want to do is chop up the 10s and the 1s and figure out how many 10s there are and how many 1s. So here we can see our 10s. So 10s equals 7, and then our 1s right here, oops, I kind of broke it up there, but 1s equals 4. So that is kind of how that works. Now when we can break those up, so question 1 is basically all about that. And then your next step, so if we go down to 2A, it's kind of the same process here. So 2A is the same question, 3 divided by 70, or 74 divided by 3 rather, sorry. And you have 3 groups, and then you're asking how many times can I put these, how many times can I break these 10s up into groups of 3? And so what you're doing is you're just seeing how many times can 3 fit into 7 in this case. And so what times 3 is equal to or lower than 7 and as close as you can get? And the answer is 2 times, right? 2 times 7. And you put the 2 up here in this block here. And this is basically your tens area in the division system here. So you're putting it up there. And then 2 times 3 is going to equal out to 6. Okay, and this would actually be in the next question on, well, you don't have, but we'll just keep going through with this one now. So you have 6, so you can get 3s. If you break these 10s up into groups of 3, you can get 2 groups made out of them, and you'll have 1 10 left over. And you show this by subtracting here, and now you have 1 10 in your tens column. And what you do next is you bring this 4 from the ones down. Yeah, and this is gonna, so you bring this 4 down here and you plop it here because you can't, 3 can't go into 1, so you can't do anything else with this 1. So you bring the 4 down and now you have 14. Now 3 can go into 14. And how many times can 3 go into 14? Well, it can't go in 5 times because 3 times 5 equals 15, and so that's too big. But if we go 3 times 4, that equals 12, and so that is what we can do. So what we do is we put our 4 that we're going to break these 1s into now, and what you can think of, right, is this 10 has been broken into a lot of little 1s blocks. But anyways, now we're dealing with the 1s, and so we can say 3 times 4 equals 12. And we subtract here again, and then we get a total of 2 left. Now 3 can't go into 2, and so what you get is a remainder here, right? Because there's nothing else to bring down, and so you get a remainder of 2. Let's do a few more of these and just keep going through the process here. We'll do it in blue, or what other colors could we get today? We can go with purple. How about? No, purple's too dark. Let's go with this one. So how about we do 4 going into 21. Okay, no, actually let's not do that. Let's just start with 91. That works better. So how many times, the first time we go here is how many times can, or how many groups are we breaking up into? 4. What are the 10s? 9. What are the 1s? 1. So how many times can 4 go into 9? The answer is 2 times. And we can do this on our hand if we draw our little hand here. Beautiful hand, right? 4, 8, 12. And see, at this point we've gone too far, so we can't go this high. So 8 is the closest we can get. So 4 times 1, 2. And then we put this 2 here. So 4 times 2 is equal to 8. And we subtract to figure out how many 10s would be left over. So we end up with 1 10 left over. And then we drop this 1 down because 4 can't go into 1. So we drop this 1 down. And we get a 1 here. And so then we ask how many times can 4 go into 11? And we see that 4 can go in 2 times, right? We can't go to 12. We're close, but we can't go to 12. So we say 2 times. And that gives us 8, right? We put 8 and we subtract it again, and we are left with 3. Now can 4 go into 3? No. And there's nothing else here to drop down. So we just have to say these are left over. So it's a remainder of 3. So 4, or 91, can be divided into groups of 4 22 times. You can make 22 of these groups of 4, or in each group of 4 there'd be 22 whatever marbles if you want, and there would be 3 left over, right? So if you were to take this and you'd have 4 groups and each would have 22 in them, and you'd have 3 little marbles left over. So you can kind of think of these as little baggies, right? And so now I wanted to show you something here with the same question again. If we made a mistake, something will be able to alert you to this mistake. Say you just said 4 can only go into 9 one time. What you'll do is you'll put 4 times 1 equals 4. And then you subtract, and you'll get 5. Now, if your 4 can go into this 5 here, you've made a mistake, because what you're trying to get is as close as possible. And so this 5 here, if whatever your whatever's remaining is bigger than your divisor here, then you know you've made a mistake. So this would be an error. Now another error would of course be if you did 3. So that would be 9 minus 12, right? And again, you would start to see, oh, well, I can't do that. So then we know we've also made a mistake, because that would be, right, negative 3, right? So we would not, that would not be correct. So we have to be careful that we make sure we get the right one. And sometimes, you're going to make mistakes. So this is why you should do it in pencil. So then we go 2, right? And then we figure it out. Now we'll do one more just for clarity. And of course, your book does this in a very slow way, and that's good. It breaks it all down. But this is the main idea of it and the great thrust of it. So this is especially in questions 8, 9, and 10, I think, are the ones that have this the most, right? So we'll do another one here on question, let's just say 8b. We have this question where it is 3 or 85 divided by 3. And so our question here is, how many times can 3 go into 8? And we know that 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 3 times 3 is 9, so it's too big. So we put our 6 here, we subtract, we get 2 left over. Can 3 go into 2? No. So we know this is good, right? We have a bit left over, but not more than 3. So we drop next is the 5 down, and we get this 5 here. And so now, can 3 go into 25? Yes, it can. And so 3 can go into 25 4 times, right? So, or 8 times rather. So 3 times 8 is equal to 24. Now you could skip count this, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, right? Or you can do it on your hands, however you need, or you just know that that is the closest one because you studied your multiplications really well. So 3 times 8 is 24. We know that 3 times 9 is going to be equal to 27. Too big, not good. 3 times 7 is equal to 21, and we would be left over with too much. We'd be left over with 4 in that case. So this is too small. It's not as close as we can get. If we're not as close as we can get, it's not good enough. So 3 goes into 25 8 times, right? And this leaves us with 24. We subtract here, we see 2, it's a 0, we get 1 left over. And so 3 cannot go into 1. We can't bring anything else down. And so we say remainder of 1. And again, this would be like having 3 bags, and each one having 28 in them, and you have 1 left over. And you can check this by doing this, right? 28. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 is going to be 24, right? So you put the 8 plus 8 plus 8 is going to be 24, and then you have 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is going to be 80, and then so we see that that would get us up to 84, and then that's where our 1 left over gets put to the side, right? We just can't do that one there. So yeah, grade 5, I hope this helps you. I hope that you are able to figure out this. If you have any questions, please send them in. And you're going to be working on pages 89 to 92 today. Don't worry about bonuses. Okay, so anyways, hope you had a good time. Cheers. Bye.